dog really likes it too.
Yeah.
She wants some too. That's why she's working.
Welcome back to Bourbon Theory. I'm Bill.
I'm Josh.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Keith.
And we're back at the speakeasy.
That we are. And Pete, you know what we're drinking here.
So I not only like bourbon, but I've got a lot of scotch. I thought I'd throw a curveball to these bourbon guys here with some scotch, and I threw the big guns at them. So this is Octomore. For folks that know scotch, this is very peaty, about the most peatiest, smokiest flavor scotch you can get. This particular one is Octomore 14.3, which is spent half of his time in 5 years in a ex-bourbon cask, and the other half in French wine casks. So it's got a different flavor to it, but it's very smoky. So people get different things out of peaty scotch. Some say burnt tires and seaweed and iodine, but let's see what you guys get out of it.
The initial, because we've had this poured now for 4 or 5 minutes, some of that initial smoke has dissipated a bit. It's kind of it's falling off the nose.
Yeah, literally when we opened the bottle and dropped the pour into the Glencairn, the entire room had the smell.
Yeah, I was standing,
It's either dissipated or we've gotten used to it.
Yeah, this is my first time putting it to the nose here.
But I think you said it best: wet ash in a campfire.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I smell.
That's really what I get.
That's my
So
nose.
before you leave the campfire, you throw some water on it, and you make some bourbon or scotch out of it.
Very interesting.
There's something underneath that smell, though.
You would think there would be some bourbon-esque off of it after spending 5 years.
Probably.
Well, then they take it and put it in
Do
the
they-
French
do they-
wine cask.
do
so
they
that
say-
drown that out.
What bourbon or what distillate?
They don't.
Just,
They don't.
Just general bourbon.
And I would say it's not a red, not a Bordeaux, wine cask that they're using either. They didn't pick up a lot
Color.
of color.
Yeah, that's
Probably a white. I mean, it genuinely kind of looks like a white wine.
It does. Yeah.
Anybody else picking up what might be that little something behind that smoke?
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
almost like a little citrusy, maybe. Or,
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, the ash is so predominant; it's
Yeah,
hard to
it's
see. But I think
difficult.
there's a little bit of
I wonder if
citrus
maybe,
notes.
maybe after we take our first sip and put a drop in it, if it pops up
Yeah,
after that.
yeah. Well, try that.
So, all
All right,
in.
here you go.
There you go.
Peaty scotch.
Campfire.
What do you think, Keith?
It starts out really almost kind of nice. And then oil on the backside, it hits hard.
It is spicy. There's a lot of
There
spice
it
here.
is.
And it stays.
It's a sweet spice too, because it's really hitting the front of the palate.
Like a clove.
And it's I don't know what the proof is, but it's a higher proof, and I don't get that out of it.
I wondered about the proof. I was going to ask that.
We are 61.4% ABV.
Yeah.
So
I don't get that out of it.
I don't know how you.
I got some proof on the initial contact. I need to get some proof on it.
It's almost holds true to the campfire analogy because when you're around the campfire, you get the smoke on you. You step away from the campfire, and you still have it. And I still have it. I mean, it lasts way longer than the bourbon.
And it's really on the very back of the palate. It's why I'm getting that ashy. I'm not getting it on the front, not getting it in the middle.
It reminds me of a cigar. You continue to taste the cigar
For days.
Or when you've crushed one out in an ashtray, they don't have the best.
Dad, you might not like this. I kind of like this.
It's not bad. It's really. At first, the nose, I was like, ooh.
Yeah. See, there's something behind that smoke.
So this is interesting. So this is a very highly peated scotch. Some of the less peaty are actually a little more harsh and a little more smoky, I would say. The dog really likes it too.
Yeah.
She wants some too. That's why she's working.
The second sip is better for me.
So this one is
Not
more
as-
complex.
not
I
near
think
as harsh.
you pay for it. I mean, this one is not cheap. Very hard to find.
I think you're spot on with that citrus sitting behind that smoke. Like a little bit of a lemony lime
Yeah,
It's coming through my
mixture
palate
coming
too.
on.
it's like peel. It's like that Mm-hmm. Acidic.
Like a zest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still got that ashy. So it's either still there from the first sip, but I think this renewed it. It's not that it's bad. It's just it's there.
Yeah.
It's
Yes, definitely. I'm happier with my second sip.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things we say all the time too. You can never judge anything by the first sip,
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
because your
Second sip
palate could
always-
be off. You could have eaten something that's not agreeing with
Right.
it in there.
Yep.
You got to get into that second before you can really say anything about it. But it's a great experience.
Yeah. Never in a million years would I've ever thought I'd like a peaty, smoky scotch, but
But you see what I'm talking about? We were talking about it today about I couldn't take, like a Lafroig and smoke a cigar with it.
oh yeah,
Which
that would
is-
not be a good
Yeah, the
combination.
competition was.
That would be an incredibly drying experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to put that on top of it, yeah, it would be nothing but smoke at that point.
And speaking of drying, I expected there to be some drying on this with it being in French oak barrel.
There's not really.
There's not. No, that is not what I thought there was going to be.
So maybe that's the tempering of the bourbon barrel experience for the first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do something with those bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
Can't use them but once for bourbon. So
I often wanted to put the geotag on one and follow it across the world, see how many places it goes.
because they say that they'll last more than 30 years.
Because they actually, before they ship them, they deconstruct them. Yeah, so they take them apart, they bundle it up, they
Okay.
put the bands
Yeah.
with the staves, and then it takes up less space.
It's recouped.
Yeah, and then it's recouped and then filled, and then a lot of times it'll go to Ireland or go to Scotland, and then it goes to the Caribbean, and they'll use it for rum,
Mexico.
Mexican, tequilas and mezcals and stuff
hot,
like
sauce,
that.
hot sauce.
I
Yeah,
like
any
that.
number of things.
Like that Cruzon was
Yeah.
tequila finished in a bourbon barrel.
Exactly.
Yeah, so one of my favorite experiences on the bourbon trail was on the American Stave. Watch them make the barrels. I don't know if you've ever done that.
We have not, but that is
That
on the
is
wish list.
Something you
right
need
now.
to do
Yeah.
when you go there. So very, very cool to see that.
Yeah. I'm working on our studio now, and I was originally going to do a stave wall,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to pick up a pallet of staves while we were in Kentucky.
500 saves.
Wow.
No, it was more than that. It was 30. Well, the pallet was 3,500 pounds.
Wow.
But we bought too much bourbon.
We filled the back of that 450 up with
Yeah.
bourbon.
Yeah.
So
You have your priorities. I
Exactly.
understand.
There's that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good priorities.
I have an American flag made of stage on bourbon. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. I love it.
I'm glad you enjoyed this. This
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
I'm glad I
Thank
can,
you for sharing
Absolutely.
that
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you.
I
Yes.
enjoyed it. So,
Quite good.
what we're going to rate this? Got to rate it off of a bourbon scale. It's definitely belongs in the Scotch category, so keep that in mind for your rating.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's supposed to be ashy. It's supposed to be smoky, all that. So
It's accomplishing its goal,
exactly. Oh, and then
knocking it out of the park.
I will say this too. This is the highest proof Scotch I've ever had.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
it makes it that much more interesting for me. Now, if I have to rate it like I was rating bourbon, I don't know that I can go there. But I'm just going to rate it like I'm rating Scotch.
Yes.
Just a drink. So I'm just going to say it's a C minus.
All right. I'm going to go last. I want to see what everybody else says.
I'm not a Scotch drinker. I want to be. I'm trying to get a palate for Scotch. I have typically stayed away from the peaty Scotch in the Scotch I've tried. I would think this on the peaty side, for what you said, what it is supposed to be. I say it knocks it out of the park. And I'm an A because I think that number one, it lasts. It's got a lot of heat for me, and it's still with me.
Yeah.
I know that I've had it. I know that it's like I said. It's
got-
like the smoke sticks to you at a fire. And this is sticking to me in my palate. So I think if that's what they're trying to do, they did it.
It's got a good long finish on it. It really does. That's whatever you're drinking. If you're drinking wine, you're drinking bourbon, you're drinking Scotch. You want something that's going to hang in there and stay with you, right?
Yeah. What do you eat?
So I'm a big peaty Scotch guy, and this is kind of the zenith of peaty Scotch. I can't give it an A+ because there's probably something out there. There's probably another Octomore expression that's just that much better. So I give it an A.
Yeah. So what we did, Russell's 15 for us is the pinnacle for bourbon. So that's not an A+ anymore. We had to make a new rating. That's an S class.
Oh, yeah.
Like a car.
Sure,
racing.
right. Yeah.
So very few things live in that territory. This is going to be an A. I agree with you. This is approaching that territory, and this is the first peated Scotch I've had, so the bar has been set incredibly high. But I think the proof helps. There's a little something behind that smoke. It has to be coming from the bourbon barrel, tempering a little bit of that smoke, and then that French wine cask, whatever was in that cask beforehand, adding a little bit of a citrus zest behind it. Yeah. So I'm actually quite a big fan of this.
I feel like a heel now. I'll get over it. Trust me. I'll get over it.
It's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
That's right.
However wrong it may be.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, subscribe if you have not. Dad, what do you tell the people?
Hey, like a great Scotch, our videos get better with time.
And as always, take care of yourselves.